So if you're watching this, there's a good chance you're feeling heartbroken, hurting, or just sick and tired and frustrated by your relationships. So I want to offer you this simple technique, these 3 simple steps that are guaranteed to make you feel at least 50% better. So maybe I can't make you feel 100% better today, but I promise you that this has the potential to make you feel at least 50% better today. So hi, my name is Tamara and I help people with their relationships and love life. Welcome to my channel. So before we dive in, I want to give you one piece of context that will make everything else make sense. So the reason dating feels so emotionally intense, even for someone as self-aware as you, isn't a character flaw. It's neuroscience. Romantic relationships activate the oldest part of your brain, the part that is wired for survival and attachment, which means that a confusing text or an anxious silence can feel to your nervous system like genuine danger. And that's why your emotions feel so out of proportion. And that's exactly what this technique addresses at the level where the pattern actually lives. So before we talk about this technique, I wanted to mention that you can use this tool for anything. So anytime you feel bad, so it doesn't have to be related to relationship. So first, I want you to choose an emotion to work with today. So let's say something that you're feeling today, something challenging. And then give it a number on a scale from 1 to 10 to represent how strongly you're feeling it. How strongly is it affecting you? So let's say for me today, I feel sad and I give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, so let's get started with step 1. Step 1 is noticing what you feel. And notice. So notice what you feel and summarize it in one word. So this one word should represent an emotion. Okay, so it's a good idea to make the distinction here between sensations and emotions. A sensation is something physical that we feel in our body. So let's say I feel cold because of the cold outside. Emotions, on the other hand, are related to our emotional states. So it's the experience that our body and mind generate. So let's say it could be feeling sad, angry, frustrated, or happy. Oftentimes, our emotions are also connected to our intellectual thoughts. So let's say there can be a thought in my mind that is making me feel a certain way, like I am not good enough. So to describe your emotion, you don't have to make it a paragraph. Just try to sum it up in one word, okay? And now just notice, what is this feeling? What is this sensation, this feeling in your body? So for me right now, I would say it's sadness. And if you're feeling numb, that's also perfectly valid. So again, notice what you're feeling. Sadness, grief, give it a word, okay? And name it with just one word. And now take a nice deep breath and notice, where do you feel this in your body? Where does it show up? So just get curious here if that shows up as a physical sensation. Let's say for me, I feel this around the throat area. And notice if there's a physical sensation of it. So does it feel hot, cold? Maybe it's heavy or light. So notice if it even has a color. If it had a color, what would it be? And I'm just curious about any other details that you can notice that thing. And does it have a shape even, or a specific volume, for example? Is it blunt or sharp, round around the edges? So just get curious and notice any other details about it. And what this does is, when we really get present with our emotions, it just takes us to the present moment. So that means it also takes us out of spiraling. It gives you a lot of perspective. And as you are really taking a moment to feel, to really observe that sensation and give it some space, there's no need to push it away. Okay, you can just be present, observe, and notice. I am feeling sadness. I'm feeling frustrated, feeling lonely. I feel rejected. You want to just watch it with curiosity. So for me, for example, I feel it in my throat and it feels a little heavy. And if that feels a little uncomfortable, to shift this discomfort, you can also try tapping. It's called EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique. So you can just tap. So start in the top of your head and take a deep breath. And you can even say to yourself, even though I feel the sadness, I release and let it go. And then tapping on the eyebrow, Even though I feel the sadness, I release and let it go. Then on the side of the eye, even though I feel the sadness, I release and let it go. Under the eye. And then tapping on the collarbone, even though I feel the sadness, I release, I let it go. And now grabbing the wrist with the opposite hand and taking a deep breath. And exhale twice as long. And now notice if you're already feeling better. And even if you skipped the EFT technique, you will have noticed that even through merely just describing the emotion, you realize it's actually not that bad. So when you're talking about the emotion, you realize you're feeling everything that you're feeling and that you're still alive. And you might realize that it is actually quite okay-ish. So what you're noticing in your body is not life-threatening, right? So maybe you're not feeling that great, but what you're learning here is that you're able first to feel the emotion and then watch it from a distance. And then that is actually quite okay. So it's interesting because you observe what you're feeling. You can't be feeling it all at the same time. Okay, so because in order for me to be able to describe my emotion, I need to access the part of me that's the observer, so the watcher. And that part gets curious about the thing that I'm feeling. So that means for a moment, I get to exit being immersed in that river of misery. Okay, so now step 2. Note that this is where the chatter is. Where is this chatter in your brain? Is there a sentence in your brain that is connected to this feeling? Is there a thought that is maybe running in your brain on repeat? Let's say for me, I feel a sense of doom. And I guess it is running in my head something like, my needs are not being met, I can't get what I want in this world, life is an endless roller coaster. So okay, so these are just some of mine. So you can fill in the blanks and let's see what are the sentences that run on repeat in your mind. So it's good to notice here that our emotions and our thoughts are often very closely connected. They often go hand in hand, and sometimes it can even be that the thoughts you're thinking are directly affecting your emotions. Not always, okay, but sometimes there can be a powerful connection. It's also good to take a moment to really realize what are the thoughts that operate in your brain as it relates to your emotion. At this emotional state we're at and how that makes us feel. And so now step 3 is realizing that everything, all of this is completely optional. So the thoughts that you just mentioned, notice which thoughts would feel better, if any. So notice if that you do have a choice here. Notice if it was even you who put these thoughts there in your head, or are they even borrowed? Do you feel like they even belong to you? And even though it can seem hard to believe that sometimes, notice that even that your emotion, even that emotion is optional. And notice, it doesn't even belong to you, right? So maybe that sadness even came from someone else. Sometimes we just carry the sadness of our ancestors, and that is very real. So notice this again. And now step 3, okay, is to make a conscious choice. So now that you have watched your emotion, you have taken off the charge with the EFT technique, know that if you're already feeling slightly more resourceful. So for now, what is the emotion that you want to choose? And it doesn't mean that you go from 0 to 200% today. You can even just feel choosing something like, I'd just like to feel a little bit more grounded. I like to feel a little bit more relaxed. I like to feel a little bit more peaceful. And that's what it would be like for me personally. And notice that even the thought that you have been thinking autopilot, notice what thought would feel better, if anything. Well, and what would you want to choose if you had the choice? Right? Imagining you had the choice. So let's say, would it be maybe instead of the whole world is against me, it could be, I will look after myself today. Or no matter what happens, I will always come back to me. I will always be there for myself. It could be anything else that will make you feel a little bit more resourceful. It could be that there's still good people out there in the world. So whatever that is for you, okay? So step 3 is choose a new thought and a new emotion with intention. Or even if you could just imagine that you had a choice there. what choice would you make? Right? And we don't have to make that switch right away. Sometimes it's good to feel, for example, sadness and grief. Sometimes we actually do want to spend some time with these emotions. We want to hang out in that space, actually allowing ourselves the time to feel our grief, feel our sadness. So for example, when something tragic happens, you don't want to just go celebrate, right? So you can just take as much time you need to feel that emotion, spending time with emotion, but also noticing what you feel. And noticing you have a choice there. You're not a prisoner to that emotion or that chatter in your brain. And sometimes I notice that people are scared to feel. People will do anything to avoid actually feeling. So instead of people actually pausing and feeling the emotion, they just do anything else. They will try to numb with whatever activity, scrolling or distracting themselves with anything else, or eating or drinking or partying. And it just can be resourceful sometimes, but not other times when you use it. So if you use it, it becomes a little less resourceful. So just notice if you find yourself also spiraling, numbing, scrolling, overeating, over drinking, overworking. So notice it. Is it because you're avoiding to feel? And what would it take for you to spend a moment on step 1, 2, and 3? Step 1 being, take 1 moment to notice the sensation. Give it a name. Step 2 being, take the charge of that emotion by getting curious about what it is, watching it, or even doing the emotional freedom technique, tapping. And also getting curious about the thoughts. Step 3 being, choose a new emotion or new thought with intention. Okay, so let me know if you feel better. I hope this makes you feel at least a little bit better today. And again, if you were to rate your state now, how are you feeling right now on a scale from 1 to 10? How are you feeling today? And actually, while creating this video, I think my sadness went down to maybe like a 3. So hey everyone, thanks for following along. My name is Tamara. I help people with their relationships and their love life, helping you feel better today. So if you'd like to learn more about what I do, find out more in the link below.